Now, I'm not going to speak about this from a man's perspective because I don't know what that's like, but I will speak to all the women out there. Our desires for relationships and interactions with, in that way, physical interactions with the other genome, has been induced in us from a very very young age. I could go so deeply into this. I think it would disturb a lot of women, people in general, if they knew what was going on. There is an interesting book. I don't know if I will share it. I'll put the maybe a picture of it in the comment section. Unfortunately, there's only an ebook. I can't find a paperback of it. But I have come to understand those things that it talks about as in real life because I've understood it and witnessed it. The torture and trauma that is induced in us is done from a very young age. When we come into the world, the love that our parents show us is usually the first sign of love we've experienced from the place where we were before we came into this world. Again, if you want to know more about that, let me know. I'll talk about it in another video. They mostly program people prior to them getting to Earth. They will make you dependent on the people around you through this trauma and them showing you any sign of love or care or protection. But that's another video for another day, and that's another topic. What I will say is that from a very young age, they sexualize people. And that's why media is such a big thing. Why we're shown all these Disney films. Why young boys are like, they put these images hidden in all the things that we watch. They use it to market and sell things. Society pressures us to be relationships. And it goes on so deep. I want you to reflect on your life and what you've seen, all the things you've experienced that may indicate why you would feel validated when you're in a relationship or when you get attention from the other genome. I don't even know if genome is the right word, but I'm using genome instead of like male men or like masculinity. So again, most of our libido, people, I think those who don't experience this high level of desire for other people are probably, how nature was intended. Not to say nature in the way that we see nature now and what we see as now. Nature has been corrupted. This is I'm talking about before the corruption. There are spiritual people who talk about how you're meant to have this sexual encounter and it's how life is made and you're meant to. I actually don't believe any of that stuff. I feel like if it was true, well, okay, I won't judge that. So I'll leave it that for you to explore and to assess yourself. But again, I will say that the way that we deal with these topics and how we deal with that subject matter, I don't think it's on a. And the word healthy actually means hell, or hell e. But again, I'll go to words and stuff in another video. So yeah, they induce these things through imagery, and then they do things on a spiritual level. I've talked about this in a previous video, which I did take down, but the governments, the secret societies, the secret services have infiltrated the spiritual realm and taken over, and not necessarily taken over, but they are there. They're like military. So you know, like how America the US has the military everywhere. The US military is just an extension of the UK military. It was England first, and then they went to America, changed names, but still the same entity operating under all of these disguises. It's been there for a very long time, but it wasn't always there in the beginning, but it was an invasion and there was a corruption, and so that's where we are at the current moment. The system is coming to an end. They are being exposed and destroyed, and we will see a new reality or a new truth. We'll see the truth be revealed. That's where we are in times now. I'm just reflecting now on the past and how this is how we got to where we are. Again, there's another video I talk about why, sex is the original sin and why people are still committing this sin to this day, and they're not realizing, or they realize, but they want to have cognitive dissonance and still engage in these activities with people who are probably not good for them. But anyway, to each their own. But just for those of you who want to know, and if you have children and you want to guide them in a way that is better for their spiritual life and their physical life and their, eternal life. Again, so our libido has been induced through media, what they do in the spiritual realm. Half the time when you're desiring, it's not actually you. I have to go into like spirits and talk about that. For those of you who talk about parasites, you know your parasite. If like 99.9% of the population have parasites, some of the feelings you have, some of the emotions you have, some of the thoughts you have are parasite thoughts. When you're experiencing this desire, that's a parasite acting in your place. But it goes so deep. Again, I have to talk about it on another level because this is so deep. We sometimes deal with more than one. In most cases, it's not just one. You're dealing with different. That's why you have mood changes. The people who are probably the only people who are, just have their own character are the boring ones. The ones who are like monotone, who do not change and do not fluctuate in emotion. But a lot of anyway, I won't go into it now. It gets very deep. It gets very, very deep. What I was trying to say in this video, and I made it, I've gone on a tangent, is that, so all these things are artificial. Another thing I wanted to add that I didn't mention in the last video, women who, I did say it, but I didn't use the word. Women are not meant to have periods. They are there to clear our systems from the abuse that we receive spiritually and physically. That's why they call it menstruation. It's menstruation, or I think menstrual period. It has men in the beginning. It's to clear them from our systems because we have a lot of spiritual male entities, men. We see them in our lives. Not all of these are human. Most of them are not. We have bodies, but we all come from different places. We're not all, and you could normally tell the bad ones. They look how you expect them to be. They also look uncomfortable. Like they look like they're not, like this is their first time in a body. But anyway, I won't go to all of that, but you get a sense of what I'm saying. Maybe analyze your environment. If you're not sensitive to these things, then you won't understand anything I've said. But you probably wouldn't be looking at my videos if you're not in alignment with if you're not in understanding of these type of things. So again, I'll leave it at that. And I just wanted to make a note. I'm so glad to see where women are now and how women have woken up on a mass scale. They're talking about women only cities, communities. I will talk about this more because I really want to encourage that community. And I know men, you're probably thinking, oh, she doesn't, my videos are not. I really do want to speak to my women, like the women as well. Like mostly I'm directing my content more at the women. I get a lot of male interest on my videos because I've talked in the past generally about targeting and things like that. I will probably I'm trying to change the direction of my videos because I acknowledge that we're in a new era. Those things that we had issues with in the past are dying away. So I want to focus on the connections I want to make. And unfortunately, I would like to make more, not unfortunately, it's in a good way. I'd like to make more female connections. Men, if you're a man watching this, I would just say, work on yourself. And we all have to do the work, not just men. We all have to do the work, but men really have to work on themselves and they have to work on their community. Because I can't encourage, I'm not here to speak to men because I'm not a man, but I will speak to the women because I know that experience. So they need to focus on them and, know that experience. And it's good, I guess, if they learn from women. But again, most comments that you see that are and this is not just in my area of content creation, in all areas of content creation, tend to be the worst ones that tend to be men. So there are some issues there. And what I understand about nature is that the male is slowly dying off. I think Mother Nature has learned from her experiences, I guess. And I don't want to, I'm trying not to offend the men, but if the truth offends them, then there's nothing I can say about that. But we are coming to a new age and women need to protect themselves because the men haven't been doing it. And this is spiritually as well as physically. So what they were meant to do, or what we thought they were meant to do, again, wasn't what actually they were doing. So we thought they were protectors, but they haven't been doing that. You're more likely to be protected from another woman than you are by a man. And I'll leave it at that. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Probably not today, but another day. So take care. Bye.